All right. Center.
This is the worst yoga in the park I've ever done.
This is the best. It's like it's just relaxing.
It's the first yoga in the park I've ever done.
Also the worst though.
Right.
It's hard to say. Hello, this is hometown East Tennessee.
Good to have you back.
Yes.
We took a little bit of a breather. It felt good though. I feel more energized now.
Yeah, we're back. It's the summer season. I mean, for the show and also in reality.
Right.
The summer season.
Unless you're like watching this in the upcoming winter. And
That's
then,
true.
Oh, my eyes just crossed. I'm sorry.
I can't wait till winter. It's like 90 degrees out
Oh,
here.
it is. We were going to shoot over there at the Founders sign. You can probably see it. We're like,
too hot.
No.
No, we sat down on the sidewalk and about 30 seconds later, we were like, Shannon was like, you want to move to the shade? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Well, this week we had a conversation with Stephanie Sherwood, a very good friend of mine, and a very cool lawyer, director, woman about town. She grew up here. She went away, but she realized she loved it here and came back. And she's a big part of the community. So we talked to her about her upcoming Shakespeare in the Park play, which she'll be directing.
No coincidence, we're in the park.
Exactly. It'll be Much Ado About Nothing.
I love that. I really love that play.
I can't say I've ever read it, except for I think I've seen the. I think there's a Heath Ledger. No, that was Taming the Screw.
Great Shakespearean director.
True.
Oh,
Kenneth Branagh?
Kenneth Branagh. He did a version of it. One of my favorite Shakespearean adaptations ever. It had Keanu Reeves in it. Mm-hmm. Don't hold that against it. It's awesome.
Keanu Reeves is cool.
And Michael Keaton played the sheriff, which I thought about. They're having the auditions tonight. This is we're shooting this on a Sunday, so tonight they're having auditions. And I seriously thought about the sheriff, who is just a ridiculous character.
So, well, and I'm going to go for hero.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
You should.
So
you absolutely should.
What if I'm hero and you're the sheriff?
That'd be awesome.
We wouldn't have hometown East Tennessee. We'd be like, if you want to see us, you have to come down.
See, that's the thing. I'd be way too busy to do anything else, and I got a lot of irons in the fire.
But it was a really interesting talk. She's a really interesting lady. You probably recognize her if you spend any time downtown.
She's run for office at least once.
Yeah.
She just did. One time, I think.
And she has her own practice, her law practice downtown. And if you need a criminal defense lawyer, she's good. But she is definitely a very. She just does all sorts of things.
Yeah, some people you can say they're a lawyer, and a certain image comes to mind.
Yeah.
Stephanie. You're not going to get that image. In fact, that's what's interesting about this interview. Really, I think you're going to like this. We come full circle in this interview.
Yeah.
We talk about her life, where she starts, and I think it really ended in a joyous, great place.
And really, I think the best word to describe her is just badass.
Yeah.
She's just kind of a badass.
She is. She's the person you can count on in almost any situation to get it done.
Yep, she is. And she will always be there with a glass of wine if you're having a rough day. She's a good friend. She's a good human.
My only regret is I didn't get a close-up of the snaggletooth dog's face.
Oh, I know, Shira.
You'll just have to check back. Maybe we'll do a Shira special one.
We'll do a Shira special. She's a little diva.
We talk about that. You'll see in the interview.
Did you get my laugh in the interview? Have you edited it yet?
I don't think I haven't put it together yet.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
If I shot it, it will be in there. So, but I was hoping for just a close up of it.
Yeah, because the dog, cute little dog, just hopped on my lap and immediately fell asleep at the beginning of the interview, and stayed like that for most of the interview. Just sort of draped on my knee. Super cute. But yeah, so that's what's coming up.
Yeah,
that's what's coming up.
This is a good one. Thanks for joining us. Remember, patreon.com/hometown. You can support us with a subscription, and that'll help us keep this thing rolling. And we took a little break. We're ready to go again, and here's our first one back. It's going to be a couple weeks before the next one.
Yeah, but we're getting there. We're still, we're coming up on a year.
Yeah. Weird.
That is weird.
And believe me, the reason that the breaks are coming is because we're working a little bit harder. At least I'm working a little bit harder on the production stuff. I want to make sure everything is better, and I'm really convinced that it is right now. So
yeah,
here comes Stephanie, and have any thoughts, leave them in the comments. Hit us up on our Facebook page, Hometown East Tennessee, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Sheer is over the Hollywood.
Oh my goodness, she's already...
She's pooped.
You know, isn't it union break time?
That's right. She's like, I deserve a bottle of wine.
And who are we talking to here? This is
Shira. Shira dog.
Aww.
My bestie.
She's been so comfy there.
Yeah. She is. Oh, Shira has formed an attachment to Bailey. It's very sweet.
She and I are tight. Mm-hmm. We share things.
We'll have to get a close up of Shira so people can see that adorable little snaggle tooth.
Everybody thinks their dog's the cutest, but really Midas. Sorry, Verbal.
No. Some days I think my dog is the cutest, and then I'm covered in white hair. Like I live in a snow globe right now because of that white dog. So right now the dog's not the cutest in town. We're here talking to Stephanie Sherwood.
Yep.
Since we started the show, Stephanie and Steven have been peeking in on the show. Oh, and it's a thunderstorm.
Ooh,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cozy.
A little.
So cozy. Old house, thunderstorm. Right. This might turn into a horror film.
Suddenly the lights go out and I disappear.
That's right.
And you guys just keep going.
Yeah.
You just.
The show must go on.
That's right.
They must have got it.
We're professionals, Shannon.
Right.
Which is why I'm guzzling wine.
Guzzle away.
Yes.
Stephanie, thanks for having us in your home. Beautiful place we got here. And your dog is just, we were just talking about that dog.
She's
just
so
the sweetest little
She
thing.
she's out.
She's already.
She
can't handle show business.
Yeah, try to.
You took so long to set this up. I'm done.
She was half with your hair and makeup, and she's
a diva.
No, I can't take it.
Yeah, we're not paying her enough. She didn't get out of bed for less than $15,000.
Her Skittles were not separated into different colors.
I told you, Shannon.
We fired the intern. What else do you want?
Oh, well, maybe she'll
we have no one left to sort Skittles.
But it's a good thing you're less high maintenance, because now you can do the interview instead of Shira.
Perfect.
That's right. We will get back.
Out of the way, dog.
That's right.
We'll do the Shira interview on another day when she's a little better.
I'll show her how it's done.
Perfect. And I should say, this house is in the Tree Streets, which, as most Johnson Cityans will know, is the heart of Johnson City.
Yeah.
I love it.
And this is real close to every place I like to hang out.
Yeah.
So you have a really great location here.
It couldn't be better. We're so happy.
Oh yeah, It's fantastic. Tell us a little about who you are, what you do, and then we're going to go back in time a little bit.
Okay.
And find out how you got there. How's that?
All right. So who I am and what I do in all the things.
Oh, just
anything.
Okay. All right.
Whatever
okay.
you like.
Well, I was born and raised in Johnson City. We were born in the same hospital.
That's right. Memorial. I live a block from the physical place I was born.
You do. I know it. I think of that too. I mean, what am I? Maybe a mile away.
Right.
But since that time, I did live in Boston for many years, in New York City for a little over a year, and but I was a theater major in college. I went to Emerson in Boston, which was this amazing experience. And then I pursued a theater career for a few years, and my favorite thing that I did was teaching children's theater. And I got to do that at the Barter and Theater Bristol and Kingsport Ballet. I taught ballerinas acting.
Nice.
They wanted them to be in character when they did their dancing.
Oh, yeah.
It was so much fun. And then I lived in New York for a while, and I decided, I don't know if the life of a starving actor in New York is really a long-term, option for me. Long story, I got this crazy idea to apply to law school. So I did, and I went to law school back in Boston again, and at the time I thought, I'm done with Tennessee. Finally, I had left. I was like a boomerang up and down the East Coast.
I think all of us have made that claim. No. That's it, I'm done with this town.
Done. I'm living in the city forever. 3 more New England winters, and I actually, I'm really missing Tennessee and my family. And so I signed up for the Tennessee bar, came home just about exactly 10 years ago. Took the bar, and then as soon as I had my license, I hung a shingle here in Johnson City, and I have practiced law as a solo attorney for most of that 10 years.
And not just that, you kept yourself busy with several other things. We'll get back to that. Let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
Like I said, let folks know where we're going.
This is not about law. Boring.
No.
This is not about lawyering. No.
Though, if you do need a criminal defense lawyer, this takes your gap.
926-0827.
Okay. Yeah, and the graphic's gone now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
But you're born and raised in Johnson City. What school schools you go to?
I went to South Side for kindergarten, first grade.
You were a downtown kid.
Mm-hmm. Well, I lived on Virginia Street from the time I was born until I was 7.
Oh.
So then we moved to the Cherokee School neighborhood.
That was my elementary school.
Oh, what a great school!
It was. I drive by now going, I can almost see the old school in there.
Yes, that's where the old school. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mrs. Cantrell, Mrs. Hostetler, Mrs. Christian,
and Ms. Baker.
Ms. Baker.
She'd been there. She was one of the new ones in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
And she just retired, I swear, 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I think she was in her 80s when she retired.
Was Mr. Messimer the principal? He was my principal.
He was principal a little after.
Okay.
I remember that.
He's an amazing man.
He was very nice. His brother was my barber the last time I had a haircut.
Wow.
Which was?
Let's call it the late 80s. Let's say that his brother passed away close to 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And that's the last time you had a haircut?
That was the last time I had a haircut. That's the moral. That's the end of that story.
Okay.
Sorry.
Excuse me.
Okay. Well, Mr. Messimer is a dear, amazing man.
Very nice,
So I went there through elementary school, went to Liberty Bell for 6th grade, and really, you know how cool and small Cherokee was.
Mm-hmm.
And that transition, did you go to Liberty Bell after?
I had to transfer out of Cherokee to Jonesboro Elementary School.
Okay.
The big spaceship with no walls.
Oh,
yeah.
It was literally traumatic for a little kid who'd grown up in a tiny little place where everyone knew just a few kids. We knew each other into this huge, like I said, it was an experimental, very 70s school with no walls, just wide open spaces and maybe a closet on wheels, and that was really odd. But you ended up. Many of my friends from downtown ended up there too. They were at Liberty Bell.
Yeah, it just didn't suit me, and I went from that intimate, supportive place to, I was a little bit of a late bloomer. I was kind of a geeky kid, and anyways, but I made this wonderful best friend, Jessica Blostein, and she's also from here, and she lives in North Carolina. She's amazing. She's been a professional belly dancer, and she has a fitness studio. She's one of my heroes. She's super cool. But anyways, we became very close, and one day she says, "Well, I've applied to go to University High, and you just put your name in the hat and see if you get in." And so I went home to my parents and I said, "Well, Jessica's doing this. I'd like to do this too." And they said, "Okay." And so we both got our names drawn out of the hat, and in 7th grade, we got to go to university school. And that's where I really sort of found myself, and I did the forensics club, which is speech and drama, but they called it forensics, and it confuses people.
I was like, what? I don't get to dig up bodies? What a ripoff! And I flipped the table and joined.
We just act like we're digging up bodies.
Yeah, I was about to say, you'd be perfect. Exactly.
But that really, honestly, that was where I kind of found my path. I have to give Jessica so much credit because I never would have thought to do that on my own. And my parents credit for being open to this idea, because they could have easily been like, nah, but my parents are awesome. So anyway, so that small school environment once again, and got into speech and drama there, and graduated from university school, class of 96.
And you were going to be a theater major.
Yeah,
So you go to college for theater major to become a theater.
It was my dream. I was determined. I didn't want to do anything else with my life. I wanted to be an actress, and
we all know that's how you do it, though. That's how you're going to do it, with no recourse, all bridges burned, full speed ahead, but damn the consequences.
I had no financial support, no other marketable skills. I worked at Chick-fil-A in high school, so that was, I had that going
right?
That's valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Shannon, on the first day of theater class in college, what? I'm out.
Oh,
and that was
look
it.
At you now.
I went to my first theater class in college. The first day, could not stand anyone, and it was because they had a very unhealthy culture at the time. It was the late 80s, and it was a very misogynistic, very anti-woman kind of thing, and I just saw so many people picked on because of who they were at the time. I couldn't deal with it.
Well, and also I feel like theater groups, I mean, you know this as a director, is that there are two cultures in a theater group.
Oh yeah.
And one of them is the sort of insane, drama-seeking human who are hard to deal with.
I never had the energy to be that one.
Yeah.
It just took too much work.
Well, I will just as a sort of sidebar, I spent probably, from the time I did my first, big play till I went to law school, about 10 years doing, regularly as an actor, director, and theater teacher. So we can call that my career for 10 years. And then when I realized after a few years of practicing law that I felt sort of more at home around a bunch of lawyers than I did a bunch of actors. That was an unsettling moment. I don't know what that means. Nothing against my fellow lesbians. Love them. But, they're intense.
Yeah. They're the most intense.
So you finished college.
Yes.
Where did you say you attended college?
Oh, I went to Emerson in Boston,
and you went back to Boston for law school because you loved it, right?
Love Boston. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever finish paying for these school experiences, but honestly worth it. I don't regret it. The people I met, and I will say this, the thing I can really sum Emerson College, the way I can sum it up is, I would guess the two of you, knowing you as I do, probably felt a little bit like me in high school, like a little bit odd, like a little bit of a square peg in a round hole. Like we weren't, I had friends, but I wasn't cool,
but but like you said, late bloomers.
Yes.
It's that, we get there eventually.
Well, technically, I created my own set of holes and pegs, and we just made our own. So everybody got their own hole, and that for whatever peg they happened to be.
Even better.
I was a weirdo even amongst the weirdos. I didn't fit in amongst the weirdos.
Well, I'll say this. Emerson is a school of people like us. It's
Misfit toys.
It truly was. It truly was, and all very smart, creative people, and it's a liberal arts with a focus on performance art and communication. And I just had a really neat experience there, and still good friends with some of my classmates. So it was awesome.
Well, I don't mean to breeze through the education part, but I want to get to afterwards. You go into the world of professional acting, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, how did you make the transition? It seems to be different from everyone leaving college. That moment of I'm in the real world and an actor.
Yeah.
And that part right there always fascinates me.
And I didn't do that very gracefully. Yeah. My last semester of college I spent in Los Angeles. So one of the many cool things about Emerson is they have an LA campus.
Oh.
And so students who wish can apply and go do an internship during their senior year. So I interned on the set of Chicago Hope, the primetime CBS drama.
That was a good show. I watched that show regularly. Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome, and it was an amazing experience. They filmed on the Fox studio lot. I had a little pass. I could drive my car in and get on the lot.
Did you have the guard going when you showed your?
I was a little bit too geeky. It's funny. I look back on the time and I think, it was so awkward, and I late bloomer once again, and I met wonderful people. I'm very, proud of my time there, but I wish I'd made more of it. I think that's natural.
Yeah.
But I met some very nice people out there. You hear these stories about LA being, just really cutthroat, and I thought, it's going to be casting couches and cocaine. No, it was regular. It was regular, nice people who happened to go to work every day with movie stars on a studio lot, and it was just a really neat time. But during that time, though, I did start to feel a little self-conscious about labeling myself as an actress, because you get out there and you realize everybody's an actress, and so I started telling people I was a writer.
That's not better.
Which was not dishonest because I was sort of fancying myself a poet, terrible one. But I was, writing bed poetry, and I was taking screenwriting class, and I was like, I'm really a writer.
I do acting to pay the bills.
Yes. So I left that semester with my degree, about $100,000 of debt, no job, no car, no apartment. And so I came back to Tennessee, naturally. And so I immediately got a job waiting tables, and I got back in with community theater, and that's when I started teaching children's theater.
Oh, okay.
And that was something I never planned to do. That's totally accidental. That's another long story which I won't go into, but accidentally found myself.
Give us the Cliff Notes. Give us just the highlights.
Well, I got this job doing summer camps at Theater Bristol. And it was just sort of a friend had said, hey, they need help there. You should go apply. I'm like, well, children's theater, but it's a job in theater. Who am I to turn that down? I'm back in Tennessee, And I got it, and I did that for about 6 months. And it was some of the best work I feel like I've ever done. And I grew to love children's theater and realized that it reinforced and challenged me in a way that I never would have expected. And so from that gig, that's how I got into the Kingsport ballet gig, and then that led to the Barter gig. So that was just a really neat,
you make it to the Barter in any capacity.
Oh, I'm so proud
amazing.
of that. I'm so
and what's
proud
funny
of that.
is, I don't think I knew that about you. And when you said it earlier, I was like, that's awesome. Why didn't I know that? Because we see each other once a week. I was like,
well, and it was a once a week class. I drove down there for about a year, once a week, and I taught. I guess they were like maybe 6 to 14. I mean, it was they were just wonderful kids. And then at the end of the year, we did this little showcase on the Barter main stage and showed off our. And I did something I had them do something very kind of like Emerson and conceptual, and I'm sure they were like, where did this chick come from? Who hired her?
Dippy.
And you're just like, writer.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
But I was really proud of that. And right after that, I'd been home for about a year and a half. And I thought, it's great to be home, and I've got my hand in theater for sure, but I'm still having to do other jobs to pay the bills. And if I'm really going to do this theater thing, I need to really give it a shot, because I could easily spend a few more years here, and and of course you're very self-conscious at the ripe old age of 22 that you have an expiration sticker as an ingenue, and I was probably already close to that. So I just said, I'm moving to New York City, and I had friends up there, and so I loaded up a U-Haul truck, and I drove to New York, and I rented a little apartment, and I lived there for 14 months. And it was amazing. And in that 14 months, I went to auditions. And I can remember standing around city blocks and for hours, only to get to the end. And they're like, we're not seeing anybody else. Just throw your resume in this box.
Oh, geez.
It's like, I took a day off work. I can't afford to take another one. It's just, and of course I was having to pay my own way. So it's very hard when you're trying to go to auditions, which are during the day mostly. I mean, professional ones.
Yeah. The ones at night you don't want to
Well, actually, funny story. So I went to this audition in Staten Island. Well, I attempted to. I lived on the Upper West Side. And I was on, 3 trains, and then I go on the ferry, and I take a bus. True story. And it's like 2 hours late, and I'm like, pardon me, F this. I don't know, can I say that on the show?
Yes.
Bailey's on this show, remember?
Yeah, you're fun.
And meanwhile, it was one of my college friends' birthday parties at a bar in the East Village. And, I've been on this, I'm thinking, geez, what if I get a part in this play? I've got another bus to get on. Like, I wasn't even there yet. I was going to take one more bus.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I literally, no. So I stepped on got the bus to go back. And so I made it in time for my friend's birthday. And so there was just maybe 8 of us around this table at this cool little divey bar, and I hear this fellow sitting next to me just mention in a conversation something when I was in law school. And I turned to him and I said, "Hey, are you a lawyer?" I said, "Well, I'm an actress, but law school is something that's sort of my backup plan, because my mother always talked about how she wanted to go to law school."
My mom too! Although maybe that's just a mom lie.
Maybe.
Continue.
My mom just told me to stay out of jail. Does that count?
Well, I wish my mom had to, because I go to jail weekly.
That's true.
So that was good advice. But yeah, so I struck up this conversation with this fellow, and his name was Ian, and we ended up dating for about 6 months.
Oh.
And great man, we're still friends. Friends.
Yeah.
He lives in San Francisco, but we're friends on Facebook, and he's got a beautiful family, and very good man. So we ended up dating, and he was very encouraging of me going to law school and pursuing that. So he even met me at work one day on my lunch break, and he bought me the LSAT study book, and he's like, "Here you go, you need to." And he set me down his computer, and he paid for me to take the test. And he's like, "You need to do this. You need to take this test." So I did, and then we got into a relationship where he, again, in summation, he's like, "Well, you really need to do this, but I can't go through this with you. Law school is very traumatic for me. I'm ready to, start a family and all these things, and you're just sort of launching." And of course, I was heartbroken and cried and all of the things, but that made sense looking back.
So if that audition had been like one bus trip closer, everything would have been different.
Then I might not be a lawyer.
If it had not been out on the island.
That is the moral of that story.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
That is amazing.
So how long did you pursue the acting and the teaching acting before you decided this is the time I need to go to law school?
Probably about 2.5 years, because it was right at the 2.5 year mark when I took the LSAT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that getting that book was a big launching point into all that. It wasn't just a gift. That's awesome.
If it weren't for Ian, it's very safe to say I might not have pursued law school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm grateful and also hate him, depending on
which day it is.
But I can see coming from acting into law could be a real asset in a lot of situations. I mean, I've watched a lot of law TV.
And we all know those are 100%
That's how I study for
Yeah.
my cases.
That's
Oh,
right.
obviously.
Like,
It's like when I'm at work and there's something weird that pops up in a manhole cover, I'll always come up with a pun and take off my glasses.
For a show?
I learned that from TV.
I love it.
I just imagine you in court, like slamming your hand down on tables and being like, "Your Honor!"
That's right.
You can't handle the truth.
There has to be a moment. It's like, oh, this is my solo. If I can't get law, no one gets law, and it's like no one knows what that means. It sounds great though.
But do you think that your degree in theater did help with the
100%. Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, the courtroom is a theater. And the moment I walk in the courtroom and walk, down the aisle and across the bar, I feel the eyes on me. And, it just starts the moment you walk in the courthouse, talking to the security, the sheriff's deputies there, and building relationships with the clerks. And I feel very on when I walk in. Not that I'm not genuine, but
you're
just that
playing,
presentation.
You're playing a certain part of yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And always being conscious of, okay, who's watching, who might, be a potential client, wanting to make a good impression in front of other lawyers and judges. And people stop me every day and say, "Oh, can I have one of your cards?" Or, are you a lawyer? And then I'm like, oh, God. But yeah, it's total performance. And I'm in the courtroom almost every day. I go to court, and it's where I feel the most confident and where I feel like my skills are. When it comes to sitting down doing the paperwork, I mean, God help me. I struggle. I still struggle 10 years in, and I thankfully now have a wonderful paralegal who's good at that. So, but really my dream as a lawyer would be, I'm handed a file, I'm briefed on everything, and there go with court.
Yeah.
And
I can see having to you in that situation you have to weigh every word and the meaning of every word. So I can see that training really coming to life, because every word and the meaning and the nuance is you're trying to influence a jury, a judge, the opposing counsel. So
well,
I
this
can
is
totally
also
see
where writing comes in handy.
Yes,
You said
yes.
you wrote. Is that, yeah, when you're used to writing, you know language is so very important.
It is, and a lot of what I do is writing. I mean, and I do a lot of letters. You know, so persuasive writing is a huge part of my job, and I feel like that is one of my. I mean, I got some good communication training in my college, and some good writing training in law school. But I would honestly say more in the classes I took at Emerson, really.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But you did come back around because you do still do theater stuff.
So let's real quick. So you make it through law school. You get your license in Tennessee.
Yeah.
You're back in Tennessee now, and practicing law. Was that all you did? Is that good enough?
No, not at all.
That's a loaded question.
I just want to point out here that I had a great transition.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then you
I'm sorry.
came in with another transition.
I'm sorry.
You know,
I just didn't want to skip the important law stuff because that's essential to who you are.
It is. I mean, that's it is.
But we're multifaceted.
We're
people.
multifaceted, and I came back and I opened my practice, which actually I'll have to tell a funny story about how that.
Of course.
And this is sort of theatrical too. So I hung a shingle, and that really wasn't my intention. But you know, life happens when you're making other plans, and suddenly I find out, I passed the bar. Great, now what? And I hadn't applied to any firms because I just didn't see myself fitting in. You know, I'm
You beat your own drummer.
exactly words that are
And I've had friends, they got out of law school and already had hit the country coast to coast.
Oh yeah.
So I see that's a difference in you right there.
And just another thing is I graduated law school in 2008, so things were happening in the world and the country. So suddenly, and I had an opportunity to have an office in a building that belonged to my brother that was he was going to let me use for a while till I got on my feet. And I thought, well, that's an opportunity that I can't turn down. And so I literally walked in with I had my laptop, and I had a room in a real estate office. That was all I had. I had nothing else. I had no clients, no money, no equipment, no help, nothing. And meanwhile, my godfather, who at the time was a prosecutor for the 1st Judicial District, and particularly he was in Washington County, he took me to Knoxville to be sworn in. So when you pass the bar, you go before the Supreme Court of your state, and you take your oath. And you have to be you have to be presented by a lawyer, a member of the bar. And my godfather presented me. And it was a really special, beautiful day. So we're driving back from Knoxville, and he says, and I did not want to practice criminal law, by the way. No. And so we're driving back, and he says, I know you don't want to do criminal law, I know, but just humor me, please indulge me. Why don't you come down to criminal court tomorrow in Jonesboro and just let me introduce you around and just observe and just... Well, I couldn't say no because, I love him to death, and he's done so much for me. And okay. And, it doesn't hurt to network a little bit and be seen, even if it is criminal court. So we go down there, and I sat in, the gallery in the audience, and they took the first recess, and I went back to say hello to the clerks because I had worked for a little while in the clerk's office before I went to law school, and I knew some of them, and they were very nice. And so Karen Gwynn, who is the circuit court clerk over the county, at the end of the admission, I started to go back in the courtroom. She says, no, that's where the lawyers sit, over in the jury box. And it's like, oh, okay. So I went over and sat in the jury box with the other lawyers.
Wow.
Is that the moment where imposter syndrome starts getting you? Yeah.
Huge. And it's never gone away. But absolutely in that moment. And it was just a real moment for me. Well, so I'm watching court, and I'm paying attention and making mental notes about all the lawyers. And as it happens, there were 2 co-defendants that were at the podium being arraigned. And the public defender represented one. Well, when the public defender is appointed to represent someone and there's a co-defendant, they can't take both. So the judge will choose an attorney that the state will pay to take on that case. And so I'm just sitting there, well, Judge Brown says in his Judge Brown voice, General Widener, that's my godfather, this might be a good time to introduce that new lawyer you brought with you today.
I mean, is your life a movie? Are you in the movie?
Yes. Oh, I mean, I was. And so Stan says, oh, yes, Your Honor, this is Stephanie Sherwood. She was just sworn in yesterday. And Judge Brown says, well, I think this will be a good case for you to start with.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, yes, I think so, Your Honor. So I have no idea what to do. And I'm thinking, well, I guess I ought to go stand next to my client. So Stan leans over and he says something to me, but I'm so nervous I didn't hear anything.
Yeah. Your heart beats like...
Oh, yeah. I heard nothing he said. And so as I get closer, the public defender, who is a wonderful man named Bill Francisco, very kindly leans over and says the same thing to me again, which is, tell the judge you waive formal reading of the indictment and enter plea of not guilty. And so I walk up and the judge is holding out this indictment. And so I'm like, Your Honor, we waive formal reading of the indictment and enter plea of not guilty, Your Honor. And so, give a court date. So I remember going out in the hall with this lady, and I'm like, so, I guess I'll call you because I don't have a phone yet. So what's your number? I mean, I used to wonder if she didn't go right back in and say, Judge, can I get somebody
Hey,
else?
we all started somewhere. She was probably just happy to have someone.
She's like, good thing they don't know about the other things I did.
Well, somehow I managed to not screw that up, and long story short, not too late, I suddenly was getting appointed to lots of criminal cases and became a criminal defense attorney, and
now you love it.
And now that is my favorite area of practice, absolutely. So, and I do family law, divorce, custody. I do some civil litigation, but criminal defense is my favorite.
You're at the jail a lot.
I'm at the jail a lot.
Yeah. Nature of the job.
It smells bad.
But now, this is the point at which
Yeah.
I go, was that all you were doing?
No. So not long after I got my practice off the ground, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I'd say around a year later, I was called by the amazing Ed Breeze.
Oh, yeah.
Owner of the Blue Moon Theater.
I'm hoping we can find time to talk to Ed at some point. It's just he's always working on a show, or I'll catch him. I'll catch him.
He's gonna have so much good stuff for your show, and he's got so many experiences, and I mean he really has been a professional working actor in New York, whereas I was just trying to be. But somehow we got connected, and he asked me to come participate in a play, and that was, I'm having a total mind blank. Sorry, Ed, I've had a couple glasses of wine.
Yeah, we're all...
Maybe you need a couple more and you'll remember it.
I've got the poster. Death Trap.
That's a great play. I love
Death
that.
Trap. We had a ball. It's a great play, and Ed and I got to play husband and wife, and it was just so much fun. And I remember being so nervous at the first rehearsal because I hadn't performed in years. And, I switched gears into lawyer mode, and here I am just in this world, and I was just up there for just so nervous. And I kept looking at the director like, what's he thinking? Is he like, oh, we made a big mistake here? But at the end of that first night, he's like, oh, you've still got it.
Well, it's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah, it really is. And that's my true love. So we did that show, had a blast, and that was the first of around 5 I did with them over the course of a few years, and always fun.
How did you find time to do all of the court work and take time every single night to do this?
It's really hard. At the time I was single. I don't have children, so people do it with children. I don't know how.
Neglect.
But but it's all for the cause.
That's right. Artist pay.
Yes. So my dog is, I don't know, she's disagreeing with something I'm saying.
I heard someone wailing outside.
She might want to come back.
She
doesn't understand that she can come back through the kitchen.
Oh.
So
I mean, cutest dog, not
the
smartest dog.
lover. But it's so hard. I mean, rehearsals are usually nightly. I mean, you've done it, and but you just don't have a social life. You don't get to watch TV.
It's kind of just a thing of you just do it.
You just do it. You just make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that after editing these videos for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
I often wonder how I ever get anything done.
Oh yeah, well, and I think it comes down to would I rather just sit at home and watch TV, or would I rather do something that's challenging and contributes to others? And
well, in the sense of relief when it's done, it's also so orgasmically enjoyable that it's kind of worth the pain.
And for me, it's hard to turn work off. So having another thing to go to helps.
Sure, I get that. I totally get that. I'm the same way. I have to constantly be either extremely busy or leave me as a lump on the bed.
Yeah.
Flip me once a day.
It's true.
There's no in between.
Yeah, I don't have the normal speed that most people have.